Now we can also use graphs to compare different things. So I have a graph here that's called points scored, and it's comparing how many points these four different teams scored. So if I look at this, I can kind of see that the Sharks here, they scored 6 points. I'm going to put a little 6 above that just to help me remember. The Jets look like they scored 18 points. We've got the Wolves. They scored 12 points. And then we have the Dragons, who scored 24 points. Okay, so what we're going to do with some of these graphs is we're going to practice comparing and writing comparison statements. So what is a comparison that I could make? Well, I know that it takes 6 times 3 to get from 6 up to 18. So a statement I could make is that the Jets scored 3 times as many points as the Sharks. That is one comparison statement because 6 and 18 is 3 times bigger than 6. If I take 6 times 3, I could get 18. Another statement I could make, if I look at the Wolves and the Dragons, I see the Dragons scored 24. I see the Wolves scored 12. That's half as many points because I know 12 times 2 will get me 24. So I could make a statement that says the Wolves scored 1/2 as many points as the Dragons. So I can use both different things we learned about. We learned about how we could sometimes compare things by putting this word times as many. Jets scored 3 times as many points as the Sharks. Or I can use one of those fractions to compare things. Let's write a couple of more. All right, if I want to compare the Dragons to the Sharks, well, I can see the Sharks. I would have to take 6 times 4 to get up to the Dragons. So I could say the Sharks scored 4 times fewer points than the Dragons. That's an easy one. I use that word times. Scored 4 times fewer. Okay. Now I could also compare the Sharks and the Dragons by saying I could flip it and use a fraction. I could say the Sharks scored 1/4 because that's 4 times less. 1/4 the amount of points that the Dragons scored. All right, so there's lots of different comparison statements that I could make about this graph. So you're going to take a peek at a few graphs and you're going to write some of these comparison statements. And I challenge you to both try to write one that uses times and see if you can write one that uses a fraction as well. Okay, good luck.